You can see my eyes. It's just that the glare, the light, it interferes with my eyes. The shades are more comfortable. Complaining. This is for the people who think that complaining is okay. And sometimes I think we do it and we're not even aware that we're doing it. We might have someone who we feel comfortable to talk to, and we want to complain to them or vent. I'm not talking about your spouse. And I think sometimes it's better if you don't even do that, complain to your children. But people complain, real stuff, real. We have better words for complaining, and we call it, I think, venting. You can tell me in the comments what you think, if you think venting is different from complaining. I think venting is just a word that's used instead of saying I'm complaining and said I'm just venting. I think it's the same thing. Why you shouldn't complain? Why we shouldn't complain? Because after a time, people don't want to hear you. They look at you as a complainer, and they might try to avoid you, or they will tune you out, or they might say, I'll catch you up later, because they just don't want to hear. Complaining is not healthy. It's not healthy for the person who's complaining. It's not healthy for the person who's listening. And I think we're in the habit so much of doing it, and we don't realize complaining is not a healthy habit. Reasons that you shouldn't complain. One, I told you, people will tune you out. They'll complain about you, or he always likes to complain. Sometimes if you complain to somebody, the advice they might want to give to you is not a healthy advice that you should even want to accept, because different people have different coping mechanisms, how they handle situations, how they deal with situations. So you might complain to someone, and then that person might give you an advice, and maybe it's not going to be a good advice. You see? It's hard sometimes when you're hurting, and this is the reason people complain. People complain when they hurt. Every time I'm taping, there's a siren. Some kind, police, ambulance, something. But anyway, I'm not gonna let that stop me. Yeah, they look at you differently. And sometimes, or especially if you're complaining to the person about someone who that person might be fond of. You see? Sometimes we're complaining to the wrong people, is what I'm trying to say. And if people are not objective enough to say that, well, she's wrong, he's wrong, that's not how it should happen. Even if they don't want to say it to you, or they want to say it to the person or talk to the person, because of biasness, they might not want to say to you that the person is wrong. They'll still give their friend the right, but they'll put you down as a troublemaker because you're complaining about what someone is doing. You get the name, a troublemaker. I've experienced that before. I will tell you what makes me want to talk about that. I remember a few years back, someone was asking me, how is everything? I said, everything is okay, you know, same old shit, same politics, and blah, 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 blah. And I can tell, or I could have picture in my head that the person wasn't interested. They didn't want to listen. He or she didn't want to hear. That's not, at the time, People have things to do, they're busy, they have their own stuff, they don't want to hear your stuff. And I thought to myself, Emily, when people ask you how are things going, it's not because they care and they want to know how things are going. They're just asking you because it's a form of courtesy. So I develop an attitude towards people when they ask me, how's everything? I said, I can't complain. And it becomes a regular statement, I can't complain. How is everything? I can't complain. And I'll tell you, it's become a learned habit. It's hot in here. It's become a learned habit that I just can't complain. So I don't complain. And I like it that way. I am happy that way, that I can tell people I can't complain. I can't complain. How is everything? How is everything going? How is it where you are? I can't complain. They're treating you nice, everybody. I have no problems. You see? Because sometimes people expect us to have problems. They do. They want us to have problems. They don't care if you have a problem to help you solve it. They want you to have problems. Yeah. So it's better to cope with your problems a different way. So Emily, how do you cope with your problems? I could tell you. I lay in my bed, I look up to the ceiling, I analyze the situation, and I pray. However I want to pray, I pray. Yeah. Does it help me? I can tell you there are times that I've discussed situations with people and felt more uncomfortable with myself after discussing the situation with the person. One, I know definitely the only time anything stays to yourself is when you keep it to yourself. That's the only time you can be 100% sure that it's not going to be repeated, when you keep it to yourself. So complaining doesn't help. Keep it to yourself. After 2 days, 3 days, you're gonna feel better. And sometimes we have people who we talk to and we like them and we feel so comfortable with them and we think it's okay. I'm here to tell you it's not okay. The more you have problems, because we all going to have a problem. We all going to have problems. More you have problems, more you keep it to yourself, more you come up with solutions, more you work it out on your own, the more resilient you become. And the more resilient you become, the stronger you become. Stronger. Yeah. Keep it to yourself. It's hard. Now, I'm not talking about your spouse, and sometimes even your spouse you might not even want to say everything to, because how they will view something is not how it is. Because we all have our little biases, don't we? We do. Don't complain. Keep it to yourself. Real stuff. Real.